Now, direct from a sunny beach in Florida,
How's he not hot in all that leather?
it's Metal Mayhem ROC correspondent Southern Cal with concert and music reviews, interviews, and more.
Go ahead and pass the sunscreen.
Here's Southern Cal.
Good evening, Hell Rats. Southern Cal here. Welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC. On tonight's show, we have Eric Koonze, guitarist from Seventrain. This band has just released a 4-track EP, and I believe coming this fall is a full-length CD. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Talk about the EP a little bit. The songs on there are just amazing. Great tunage on there.
Thanks. So we decided to put out EP because it was taking us longer than we wanted to get the full album done. And we're kind of noticing nowadays the appetite for full-length records, albums. There's not as much a desire as like when I was younger. So it seems like people want new product continuously. So we're finishing up the album, but we're kind of getting advised that maybe we should just do another EP and then another EP.
Really?
And keep it. Yeah. And I thought, maybe we should maybe do some vinyl or something for some people that want to buy that. They can have the full length old school with the liner notes and all that stuff.
I was just at Target the other day, and you can't find a CD anywhere, but there was a whole wall full of vinyl in there now. It's the new trend, obviously, that people want that sound. I appreciate the sound. I still have my turntable, so
it sounds better. It just sounds better. Yeah.
Rich, and it's deep.
Yeah. Yes.
Speaking of that, your band style, heavy, grooving, bottom end, get into it, just lay it in thick. It comes out great.
Oh, thank you.
Two of my favorite songs on that were the One More Reason and Save My Soul. Those tunes, I kept playing them over and over again. It was just loving that groove to them. I just had recently started finding some of this music like that with Umbilicus, from Cannibal Corpse, Paul there. He's got the drummer in the band. What a great heavy core band, just that groove to them. It wasn't what I was expecting. So I like the new style. If this is the new metal, I'm liking it. I'm just
it sounds like the old stuff to me.
No, well, I'm pushing 55, so
yeah,
a little while.
Well, I'm 52, and I've been doing this for a long time, and it always resonated with me because all my favorite bands are artists, Judas and Maiden. I'm a big Pete Townsend fan from The Who. I love The Who, and I've never heard any of my favorite artists say, "Hey, this was real popular, so we decided to do that." They always like Rush. They just did what they did, and they were good at it. And it was I don't think a lot of bands give proper respect to the normal audience or music lover that doesn't play. I don't think they give enough respect to the fact that they can really inherently tell if they're being genuine, if the band's genuinely doing what they love, or they're just chasing fame or ass or something,
I think Rush was probably one of the most genuinest bands ever.
Almost to their detriment, almost,
to a fault.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what we are. I mean, we sat in the room. We literally wrote the whole album's worth of music in, I would say, within a month, with life and everything else going on. And then we had some singer issues, and we got our old singer Koonze, that was on the second album, back on track. In great rock singer. He's just got a phenomenal rock voice.
Yes, he does.
And what was that?
The whole band sounds tight and great.
Oh, thank you.
Fitting.
Everyone in the band is really good. Everyone, and not that we're Dream Theater, but everyone in the band is talented. There's not one member where we go, well, we'd like to do this, but can't because so-and-so sucks. Everyone can hold their own weight.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. And we're mature. And so it's very song-oriented focus. I realize that I'm not going to top Yngwie Malmsteen on guitar, so I just play for the song and keep that in mind.
I would say one Yngwie is enough, and take the influence and be yourself. which
Yeah,
is what I feel you
exactly.
guys have done on this. So you
Yeah.
talked about have not maybe or maybe not having a full length CD coming out sometime this fall. Would that be about? Do you have a time frame for anything new coming out?
Our goal is to have the whole CD. But as you go through these things, it's set this whole music world that we're in is so fluid. And you want to give the customer or the people that like the music, you want to give them what they want. So we still believe that they would like to have a full length CD, and so that is our goal. But we want the band to progress, and we want the band to stay on in front of people's attention. So some of our advisors on the side, guys like Ben, they're telling us, man, maybe you should do an EP and then put out some more videos and constantly keep your presence out there going. And I think there's some merit to that. I really do. I've still romanticized about, you put out an album, you go tour, and then 2 years you put out another album, you go to, but I think those days are
Long gone are those days for sure.
Yeah.
They are long gone.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back here. We're going to circle back. You guys released your first full length album in 2014, self-titled album.
Yeah.
I landed on I believe this is the College Music Journal Loud Rock number 36, and it's first week out.
Yeah.
I don't know if my engineer, the Vernomatic, he was in college for all that stuff, and I'm sure he was probably familiar with some of these journals. So it's pretty cool. I like that, being the first to come out. You guys went through a little bit of a shuffle. Let's say you picked up Dave Odegaard at the time in 2019 with the Back on Track album that came out, and now here we are with the 4-song EP, and waiting for some more. I know you had mentioned things about doing the lyric videos and putting those out still.
Yeah.
That kind of plays into how everybody is nowadays with the instant gratification. I need this now, and their attention span's only 4 to 6 minutes long, and then they're off to something else, which is it's a shame, But the lyric videos and the EPs, I think maybe might be the way to go nowadays with these people.
It might be. We got a song called Roller Coaster that I think is, well, we're intentionally, it's going to be the next lyric video or video that we're putting out. So we're trying to arrange a show right now down here in San Diego, so we could get some live footage of the band and mix it in with a lyrical concept type of video again. And so that'll be the next one. And then at the same time, we're just chipping away as the recording thing is now. Everyone has I have my own Pro Tools or Luna rig, and so I can do all that stuff. I like my guitars here.
I can see your Explorer in the back there. I like that.
Oh, this guy is. So I'm an Iron Maiden freak, right?
Aren't we all?
This is an Ibanez Destroyer. It's an 81, just like Adrian Smith.
Yep.
Played. And then, of course, if I'm going to have that, you got to have that, right?
The Strat.
Yeah, so I got full like Adrian Smith and Dave Murray going on.
Dave Murray special right there. Yeah, I just picked up a new Ibanez bass. Back in June. Got into the bass again. Went over to the 6-string, back to the bass again.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back. We're going to revert back, and we're going to talk about your beginnings, let's say, in music. Nomad, which kind of transcended into Cage. You guys had 2 albums that you put out.
2 albums I was on.
Yes. You weren't real happy, I guess, with the second mixing, and parted ways with the band on good terms. There was no ill blood, let's say.
No, it's so Nomad, and I will say this, and Sean Peck will even agree with this, was a better band.
Really?
We were just a better band. There's a lot of Nomad songs on Darker Than Black and then Hell Destroyer or something like that. I don't know. And right now, I was just with Sean about a week ago, and we are dropping all the analog into Pro Tools to do a re-release and a mix and master version of Astrology.
All right.
Yeah. So, so those guys are cool guys, and I left. So Nomad was very progressive. That was in my wanted to be Fate's Warning and Crimson Glory.
You mentioned some makeup things.
Makeup.
Did they go into the makeup? I guess
No.
Sean did. No,
No.
the King
Maybe
Diamond. Sean. Yes.
Sean's a big, King Diamond fan, so I could totally see that. But then we did the Cage thing, and it was at I think the biggest lull for heavy metal in the late 90s there. And
It was.
Sean and I were really into Fight and Sabotage.
Oh yeah.
So to me, like if I listen to old Cage, it's got tinges of Maiden, not really, but it's Judas, Fight, and Sabotage, and that was that. And
you also had mentioned Sanctuary and Fate's Warning as some influences to yourself.
Yeah, I love Sanctuary. And Fate's Warning to me was just phenomenal. I really enjoyed this. I didn't really care for the John Arch album or albums.
Night on Brocken with Fate's
I
Warning?
don't like Night on Brocken. No,
that was what got me into them. I kind of really like that album.
Oh no, when I say that amongst friends, they look at me like I punched a baby or something. But but I'm not. Yeah, but I don't know. Anyways, so that was fun. I mean, that was good. We wrote that Shoot to Kill and off the first one, and it kind of propelled the band up. And I was, in all frankness, I was more into the blues based hard rock metal stuff. And Black Label just came out at the time. I was kind of feeling my oats. I was still heavily into Jakey Lee's Badlands, Zeppelin-y stuff, and they really got into the 16th note. Everything's double bass. Everything's just vocals, the whole time. And I just kind of went, you know what? That's all good, guys. I'm going to go do another project and do what I like, which quite honestly has always sounded like Seventrain.
And you guys are still all friends, I take it. No animosity with anybody. Talk about Shoot to Kill. Was that the first song you ever wrote?
No, I've been writing horrible songs since the late 80s. No, like I said in the beginning, I always wanted to be Pete Townsend. When I was young and I heard the Who's Next album, with Won't Get Fooled Again and Baba O'Reilly and all that. To me, this might be blasphemy. To me, he's the original metal guy because he had the original pedal tones. Dun, 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 and right. That's metal.
A lot of aggression.
Yes, a lot of tension. A lot of tension. The rest of the stuff was very doomy. And I'm a massive, like one of the only times I've been to a concert and was around the band playing and I got starstruck was Tony Iommi. I'm like, fuck, he's like 8 feet from me. That's the dude, that's the guy. But anyways, so the songwriting has always been of key importance for me. And that's why this group of guys in Seventrain, we all sing. And so it's very vocal oriented. We're not trying to, tear up the world on being the best bass player, drummer, guitarist. There's vocals always constantly going on in melody.
I think everybody exemplifies themselves. You amplify each other in that band very well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It's not like there's some standout prodigy,
Oh, no.
You guys complement each other very well.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You mentioned Maiden, of course. You said you're 52, so you're 3 years younger than me. So we all grew up pretty much in that same early 80s time period.
Mm-hmm.
Maiden. What was the first album you got into with Iron Maiden?
Number of the Beast.
There we go. Mine too.
Number of the Beast.
Great song. First time I saw him.
I have actually this tattoo here, which is a Gibson Les Paul tattoo. Gosh darn it. Nice. That's the intro to Hallowed Be Thy Name around the headstock of the Les Paul.
There you go.
When I heard that Number of the Beast album, the whole intro to Number of the Beast, the scream. It was just like, I played football, and so anything like that, just like it just got that energy level up of nothing could stop me.
Do you guys have any plans to do any dates, even in just the San Diego area or just Southern California area?
Yeah, we're actually we have a gig on August 5th. We're lining up some gigs throughout the fall in the local like Southern California area. We also have on the side we do a tribute to Headbangers Ball. All the same members of Seventrain. We're just like, fuck this shit. I don't want to go play covers and stuff because we get asked to play covers. Like, I'm not doing Talk Dirty to Me and all that stuff, and no knocks on those bands. So we put together, we call it Headbangers Brawl, a tribute to Headbangers Ball, and we do Wasted Years and I Don't Believe in Love and some Dio songs and Don't Tell Me You Love Me by Night Ranger and Miracle Man, and we do all these killer songs. And again, we're not Dream Theater, but we do them because we can. And they're fun, and
that's probably one of the best parts of being in a band is being able to kind of do what you want to do and have fun with it.
Yeah.
You get one, you don't get the other.
Yeah.
But that's nice when you can have both like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. We noticed, doing the Headbangers Brawl thing, we were laughing because anytime you see a cover band at a bar, someone's always yelling Freebird, every time we play, all we hear is Slayer.
Right. Nice. Very nice. So, collector of, let's say, physical media. Are you, a lot of stuff's coming out on MP3s now, things like that, digital formats, Spotify, Bandcamps. Are you one of those guys that likes that format more? Or are you like the guy who wants something physical that he can put up on a shelf so when his friends come over, they can start rifling through his albums and his CDs and talking about stuff like that? A collector, let's say.
I don't collect any physical media medium, but I can tell you, if I had a turntable, I would definitely, my vinyl collection would be a lot bigger. Yeah. I'm one of those people that the technology has made things so simple and accessible. Yeah. I stream music. I admit it, it's just
I've just recently embraced the new technologies in the last couple of years with Spotify and stuff like that, which I love. But I like to be able to pull an album out like All the World's a Stage and throw that triple gatefold open and just pictures and things like that. And you start talking about things and something that happened back in the day. And I do like the collection of the media, but I will embrace the new media as well.
It's a shame because I remember, right, All the World's a Stage, but I remember getting the Live After Death Maiden live album, right? And just analyzing the artwork and reading the liner notes and just listening to it. And it was a whole experience. And it was more than what people are getting now, is a download and a song. It's almost like the business is back to what it was in the 50s and 60s with the 45s. And where it's just, these labels have songs they own, and then they find the cutest little boy band with the latest haircuts and black fingernail polish and throw the song out and next, and get another one, throw the song out and next, and unfortunately I don't see that changing because of the finances of it and the business of it, and the fact that it takes a lot of money to have these bands do 1, 2, 3 albums and then generate that type of business. It's a business, and brand the band and get the following. The money's not there. And what makes no sense to me is that there's a lot of industry that relies. My background's finance. I do corporate finance for a living. I take companies public, so I get a little in the weeds on this. But if you think about it, the business is eating itself because touring, all the vendors, the sound, the lighting, all the crew, all that stuff, it's the legacy bands that are supporting most of that. Yeah, I didn't realize how well Toto still sells on touring, right?
Right.
And so they're wiping that out. That's all going to be gone. And the music will always be there. People are always going to go see live music. That's not going anywhere. But the access to generate those types of what we remember as these giant rock bands, these juggernauts, they're legacy bands now. I think once they go, they're gone.
I will say, like back in 2014, when you put your album out, you were out open enough for bands like Pat Travers, Michael Schenker, Skid Row, Jeff Tate. Talk about what's the difference between that and 2014 and now. I mean, we're talking 9 years. It's like almost a world of difference. Tell us your angle on the touring aspect.
There's less of that. The bands can't tour. There's less. They aren't able to afford it. So those opportunities for local bands to hop on shows like that are few and far between. That Pat Travers show, even then he was traveling in a car with his guitars and his pedals and everything in a car. They had a big town car, right? And his band was phenomenal. It was 3-piece and they kicked ass, but part of the requirement is we need a backline, and it was our backline. I mean, if Pat Travers says, "Hey, can I use your amp?" Am I going to say no?
Right.
So I mean, but even then in 2014, that's where it was already there. And today, I mean, if Anthrax can't tour Europe, what hope is there for it? And that's what I'm saying.
Striper, another band.
They're squeezing every dollar out, but they're not nurturing any artists. So at some point, it's just gonna not be there, and you're gonna have regional artists. That's me, and I'm not dire. I'm saying live music's always gonna be there. People are gonna go on weekends and have fun, but I don't know where's the next Van Halen.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like a residency thing coming up. Yeah, our producer Vernon Maddock, don't get him started on Van Halen.
Listen, Eric, great listening to the story. I have to interject when you talk about, Van Halen, there's only one Van Halen. But the whole touring landscape, no, there's only one Van Halen. What's the two?
Well, there's Van Hagar.
Well, that's Van Hagar. There's only one Van Halen.
But Van Hagar wrote better songs.
I'll have you back next week and we'll put this debate to rest. But the point with the touring, and I had to interject that it's really interesting what like a band like Overkill, what they're doing is they consolidate this tour for 3 to 4 weeks. So they limit their exposure for something going wrong. Cal had a chance to see Overkill the other night in Orlando.
Sunday.
But the night before, they had to cancel the Lauderdale show because the trailer axle broke.
Oh.
So, they still have to sleep. They still have to eat. They still have to pay the bus driver. They still have the expenses keep going.
Yeah. And the only thing good about that is that they had not gotten south of Orlando on their way to Lauderdale yet. They were coming down 75 is where they broke down. So once they got it fixed, they were just maybe 45 minutes to Orlando from their gig the next night. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, it could have been worse, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the flip side to all this, we're not even touching on venues getting into merch. So it's almost like the bands can't even afford to sell their own merch at their own shows. They're walking away with 10% of merch sales of their own merchandise. So a great topic when talking about this whole touring, because you're right. When it's done, it's done. So I like the legacy acts. Like last night, I had a chance to see Ted Nugent up here in Rochester. I'm in Rochester, New York. It was a nice venue, maybe like a 2,200 cap room. It was pretty packed. Merch was flying out the door. But after, he's 75 years old.
Yeah.
And so, but
still rocking it though.
I just wanted to comment on that.
No. And it's a great topic because not only does it touch musicians, it touches fans. And my wife is a giant Pink fan. And I know we're supposed to talk about heavy metal and all that, but I'm not paying $800 a ticket to sit up somewhere. And it's at some point, where do they squeeze? They're killing their own business, right? So if you're selling a widget, at some point when you're not going to pay the widget maker enough to live, you're not going to be widgets to sell. And I don't know why no one can figure this out. Right?
That's exactly right.
And I think it's these monster bands. Like I think Iron Maiden is like one of those bands, they just encapsulate themselves. They're their own business. They go on the road. They control everything, A to Z, right? But anything lower than that, you're right. The promoters digging in, Ticketmaster's digging in, Live Nation's digging in, the venues are digging in. You're right. Now they're getting into merch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and just riders, stuff they have in their riders.
Yeah. It's
ridiculous
insane.
Kind of things.
It's insane.
Well,
so that's stuff that we talk about in Seventrain, because we always get asked, "Oh, where you guys? Where are you going to play?" Like, well, we'll play anywhere. I mean, we love playing. We love playing for the sake of playing. Do you think you're going to be, huge and famous? I never like to agree with Gene Simmons, but I think he's right. Music's not dead. The music business is dead.
The business is dead, yes, but not the music. And no way to perform.
And we get, it's weird. Everyone's biased towards their own stuff and their own music, but for me, once we record something, I rarely listen to it. But this last EP has gotten such good feedback on some of the songs. It's kind of motivated us a little bit. And honestly, when there's a lot of musicians, a lot of guys out there doing covers, but when you're an artist writing your material, you first you have to satisfy yourself. But when you get that feedback that, oh, I genuinely like this. Like, I can tell when someone says they really actually like my song. And I can tell when they're just blowing smoke at my ass. But when you get that, hey, that was really good, and they can kind of tell you a little bit, they actually listen to it. It makes you feel very, very good about what you're doing, right?
Well, keep doing what you're doing, because it's getting great response out there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Eric, thank you for joining us tonight. You have your different media outlets, seventrain.net, facebook.com, and Instagram. Anything else we've failed to mention here?
We're everywhere. Our favorite Spotify's and Apple Music's and all that stuff. We're all the digital streaming sites. We're there. I'd like for everyone to reach out onto our Instagram and Facebook and like it and comment. Tell us we're ugly. Tell us the songs. I don't really care. I've had comments over the years, or I remember the bad ones because they're so harsh that I chuckle, when you think about.
Oh, they stick because they hurt. I own a restaurant, so every now and then you get a Google review, and you're just like, what the fuck, and it hurts, but you try to correct it and you let it go. My wife doesn't even read them anymore, so pay attention to it. Keep doing what you're doing because it's awesome. You guys are just.
Thank you so much.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.